Hi, I'm number one New York Times best-selling author Tony Lee, and you're listening to Mark 42.
Welcome to a special edition of Mark 42's WHOniverse. Doctor WHOniverse, that is. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me, as always, are...
Trish-helm.
And I'm John Hurt, also known as the War Doctor.
I don't actually think we have John Hurt here. I think this is someone else named...
Just kidding. This is Eduardo-m-Freyre.
I'm Peter-Capaldi. What's this? I only get an eye shot. That's it. Eyes. That's it. No, $50, so you give me an eye shot. That's it.
That's Christian-basel. And there you go. And
maybe for this Christmas special, you'll show my teeth. Will you? Oh my goodness. Some other body parts.
From what you're hearing, where this episode is all about the Day of the Doctor. Yes, it's our review show of the 50th anniversary episode. It was amazing, and we've got lots and lots to talk about this episode. We are not broadcasting this until the day after the movies are shown around the world on the Monday the 25th. So this is, even though we're recording this before that, this will not be on until Tuesday the 26th because we want to make sure it's not spoiled for you.
And if you're listening to this and for whatever reason you still haven't seen Day of the Doctor,
what the hell are you thinking?
Stop now. And also let me say, congratulations, I'm glad you got out of your coma, or congratulations, I'm glad that you escaped from that deep, dark chasm you fell into. Nice to see you back, James Franco.
Yeah, James, you should have been watching. I don't know why. One Direction was watching like I predicted months ago, but...
Yeah, that was probably a lie.
I bet it was a lie. I bet they didn't watch it.
No, they watched it. They were stuck watching it when they were filming the after party. They were stuck watching it there with all the companions that were there. But let's get on to the show.
I thought they were in Los Angeles.
Well, no. Were they in Los Angeles?
Yeah, they were in L.A.
Well,
that was where their stupid thing was broadcasting from.
Wait a minute. Then how were they both in England and L.A.? Because they were at the after party.
I thought it was just a video. of them.
Was it a video?
I don't know. I didn't see it. But that's just what I heard.
You know, I was busy.
Maybe nobody did.
Nobody did. No, I was busy running a viewing party, and I must have missed that part of the after party where they sent it to L.A. Oh, well.
Yeah, but old Matt Smith, said hello to them over the monitor. And
that was it. He gave him the two fingers.
Yes.
Way to go, Matt. That's how I...
In the wrong direction.
The
wrong direction.
That is what you deserve, One Direction, for stealing the day away from the Doctor.
I don't want to alienate our One Direction fans who like Doctor Who, so we'll backtrack from that a little, like the Doctor backtracked from insulting the Queen.
Does anybody know what that One Direction is?
It's not my direction, I'll tell you that.
Up the backside.
Stop.
That was Christian. Okay. And any Whovians who are fans of One Direction listen to this podcast. That was Christian. That was Christian. That was not me.
You can send a comment or a complaint to mark@mark42.com, but make sure you write Christian
subject line. It was all Christian's fault.
Jerk in the subject line. Don't let me read it and think you're talking about me complaining about it. Go to Christian. And I will forward the email to Christian so he can see that he's a jerk. Right, Christian?
What if it's Peter-Capaldi says up the backside?
Okay. No, let's start the show. This was a great episode. I was floored. I think anyone who complained about Stephen Moffat owes Stephen Moffat an apology.
Yeah, I think I
Ed.
do. I think I do.
Yeah, yes, I was, the entire time I've been guardedly optimistic, and it is good to see, that I was pleasant, it was a very pleasant surprise.
This was the one time I didn't mind being wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't.
But I didn't, I was so happy, I was so relieved.
I wasn't relieved. I knew it was going to be an exciting and a great episode. I did think there were going to be things that possibly weren't going to be to my liking, but you know what? It was all to my liking. I was floored, and the people at my viewing party, there were people crying at certain times. This was a very emotional episode.
If there was anything that we could pick at, I would say probably that first off, I mean, if I have any, I don't want to say negative comments, but any criticisms, and they're very slight because I thought that the episode was really great.
This is Ed's criticisms, folks.
And I also love that the resolution of it did not wipe out what has come before. In fact, if anything, it still works. Especially because of the timey-wimey nature of everything.
Oh, but that's so immature, timey-wimey, isn't it? Let's maybe we should stop using that phrase, because John Hurt says we should stop using that phrase.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. Still using it.
Just because he says it doesn't mean I'm going to do what I want to do. No way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. He was
Don't
great.
be immature, folks.
But now do you think, okay, now, Moffat was saying that this was not going to cause the doctors to be renumbered, but I think it does.
It has to.
It has to, because even at the end, they were calling him doctor, and they said and even Ten said, you're more of a doctor then, that day,
right,
than any of us.
Actually, John Hurt even called himself the doctor when they were calling the Gallifreyan War Council at the end.
Well, see, now I've noticed that they were saying at the end that they would not remember what had happened. The 10th and the War Doctor would not remember. So if I'm correct, the War Doctor, John Hurt's doctor, when Eccleston and Tennant are doctors, they would not know this all happened, and they would still think of him not as a doctor. And I think only at this point would Matt Smith start going, you know what, he was a doctor. So the numbering wouldn't be, the Eccleston would still consider himself the 9th. The Tennant would still consider him the 10th. But then Matt Smith's character would say, you know what, I've been wrong about this. And the renumbering. So it's kind of like the unit dating that was a joke in this episode. Where is it the 70s or the 80s? Is he the 11th or the 12th? Because, for two regenerations, he didn't consider him the doctor, and now he's just considering him again.
There's a bit of an opening that could happen here. And this is just theory. I mean, this is just going from a little bit of research. Wikipedia has not numerically put him in. He's not 8, 9, 10, 8.5 or anything. He's still considered War Doctor. Also, to back up maybe that there is another thing that could possibly happen. Remember, when we saw Night of the Doctor, we saw 8 go into War Doctor.
Right.
But we never saw War Doctor go into the Next Regeneration.
We did.
So
we saw it at the end.
We didn't see it go into Eccleston. So it could leave something to
CGI. It kind of looked like Eccleston in the last second before they cut off.
Yeah.
Well, we really don't know.
I really didn't see that.
But we really didn't. I mean,
it didn't
change
pull off
John Hurt either.
See, for me, that would have made the episode just perfect.
Well,
if we had just even had that, if we had just had that couple seconds, I mean, why couldn't they have gotten Chris Eccleston just for like 2 seconds to do that? I mean, that was frustrating. Yeah.
That was 2 seconds to have his face, and then maybe go something like fantastic.
Yeah.
During the Doctor Who after party on BBC 3, at the very end, they had a montage with music and stuff, and they were showing the Doctors in order, and it still went 8th Doctor, War Doctor, 9th Doctor. They did not change it on BBC 3 after the program. So, I don't know.
I think this is going to be one of those things that's going to be debated for a while.
Oh, they'll be debating it, and they got plenty of time to debate because, we've got a Christmas episode coming up, but then there's nothing to talk about for like 9 months. So they'll be debating this for
But yeah, this is the thing. I mean, until we have an in-story thing, this is going to be hanging over the head, because if we count the War Doctor as an actual doctor,
right?
And just for the sake of argument, let's say that the numbering doesn't change because of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, numbering doesn't change. That's fine. That's still, and we said this in the last episode. We still have the fact that a Time Lord is restricted to only 13 generations, which means the incoming Peter Capaldi
is it.
Okay, there's no changing that. Just because John Hurt changed his name or did not consider himself the Doctor, that doesn't mean that, you can say, oh, okay, it's like if you were a Time Lord, Mark, and you regenerated and you decided to call yourself Jim.
Exactly.
That doesn't, we don't say, oh, because he's calling himself Jim, okay, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. He still has one more.
And if you think about it, at the end of the episode, when the High Council when all the doctors are coming to freeze Gallifrey, they say number here. There's 13 of them, and Capaldi comes out. The eye.
That was awesome.
And by the way,
I was right. Didn't I say the other week that my theory was because they were doing what they did with Jenna-Coleman, that they were because they announced him in that way, he was totally going to show up in this episode because we knew we had to know who it was.
However, though, somebody who said something similar to you, I'm going to have to jump back to Christian's Corner.
Okay.
If last episode we did Christian's Corner, we asked the audience, what is something they're looking forward to in the 50th anniversary, and Jeff Waddell said he was looking forward to a brief glimpse of Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
So he actually, he
got his wish.
He got his wish.
He got his wish. Yeah, we did.
And that's as brief as you get.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
but it still was awesome. It still gave me chills. I was just like, what happened? Hey, Mark, what happened in the party when that happened?
Oh, at our there was a shout, yay! There was a big.
No, I was Trish and I watched it together. We in fact we actually literally watched it together because
not over Skype this time. That's
I'm actually in Reno.
Oh, you're in Reno?
I'm in Reno. Yeah, I'm in Reno. I flew out to Reno, so we actually watched it together. And Trish, can back me up. When Peter Capaldi came on, when they said all 13 of them, and we get the close up of the eyes, I was like, what?
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
The hurricane people were they were already shouting when the first 12 showed up.
Yeah,
and you saw their faces all along the screen.
Like,
but when the 13 showed up, that place just lit up like a firecracker. They were just going nutty.
It was amazing
because it was almost like they sealed the deal. Yes, we know Capaldi's next, and here he is. Boom, and here's my eyes.
At this point, I want to talk a little about the placing of this episode. As we know, the 11th Doctor, this happened in current time. The War Doctor, John Hurt's Doctor, took place right before he was going to destroy Gallifrey and the Daleks. And for David Tennant, we actually got the place where this took place. Now, people were going, "Oh, Rose is in it. So the Doctor and Rose are going to be together. Where could it be? Could it be the human Doctor? Could it be this? Could it be that?" We definitely know this took place between Water of Mars and the end of time. This is when he knows he's dying, because in the end of time, at the very beginning, he tells the Ood that he got married to Queen Bess, and then implies that her nickname is wrong, and that would be Elizabeth and the Virgin Queen, those in the know. So we have a definite point when it takes place for Tennant, and I know we were arguing about when it could be, so I just wanted to place it.
Which, by the way, that actually brings up one of the little criticisms I had. It was great seeing David Tennant and Billie Piper back, but the way that they used Billie Piper, the way that it turned out that the Rose that was in the special was actually the Moment using Rose's form. See, I got to be honest. I mean, I was when we first saw the Moment as Rose, and she then makes like a Bad Wolf reference. Like I was telling Trish, I thought, oh, maybe for a minute it would turn out that the Moment was Bad Wolf Rose kind of bottled up by the Time Lords. But then nothing came of it. Nothing came of it other than the Moment saying, "Oh, I'm taking this from your past, or is it your future? I don't know. I don't know." So it's like, unless for some reason they come back to the Moment, then why go through all this? Why do that? Really, the Moment could have been anybody. It could have taken. I mean,
that was the point. That was the point.
People wanted to see Rose again.
Yeah,
but then why, I didn't really care, but I know that she's considered to be the favorite companion of the New Who.
Right, but I mean, but then why not? Why not use Rose? Why not use Rose? Then why go through this roundabout?
She didn't fit into the story.
They were and definitely they wanted to reference the end of time line that he was just thrown away to the Ood. Oh, I got married to a queen. Yes, a queen. Oh, Bess. And, Stephen Moffat was filling in things that RTD put in. I mean, the Time War was RTD's baby, and Stephen Moffat, filled in the gaps.
So they specifically wanted, Moffat specifically wanted 10 at this specific point.
Yeah.
Because of his attitude, of what he was feeling and everything going on in his head at this moment. That was what was important.
Time Lord Victorious, that's where he was. And it was near the end of his life also because, he had to have time to reminisce and hate the fact and hide the memories of the War Doctor. They needed some time.
Well, no, and and also, if you look, Waters of Mars, that was the first time, one of the first times that he, just decided to hell with the rules.
Yeah.
And he actually tried to actively make a huge effort to make a giant impact on the time stream, and time smacked him.
He also needed to be alone.
Yeah.
He also needed to be alone, and this was a perfect time.
I still kind of, I don't know. For me, it's like, okay, it's great to bring Billie Piper back, but I kind of would have wanted Rose, not, not something that takes on the shape of Rose, especially if they don't have her interact with her doctor.
But Eddie, you're the one that doesn't like the whole romantic crap between the companion and the doctor. If they brought back Rose, then it's bringing back the crap you don't want.
Okay, all right.
You don't have. I mean, okay, you had 10 and Queen Elizabeth, kissing, not that he really wanted to, but I mean, it wasn't, the stuff that you don't, that you hate.
Yeah.
So
well, no. Okay.
Why didn't the doctor die of the venomous kiss of the Zygon? I don't know.
That may
not have. I guess they weren't French. I guess they weren't in the French.
See, I didn't know they were venomous. The kiss.
The tongue. The Zygon's tongue has venom in it. That was stated by Matt Smith over and over again when he was judging him and not judging him.
I guess they didn't. Yeah, there was no tongue. That was a brief kiss.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's enjoying that Trish is trying Ed right now?
This is what's called a healthy relationship. Okay, we don't have to.
See, I'm not just blindly agreeing with him.
Exactly. No, see, if I wanted her to blindly agree with me, I'd be a politician, and she'd be in the same political party.
Okay. So
I'm the only one that thinks that Time Lord Victorious would make a great musical. Victorious.
Oh, God.
Icon Barrowman.
Are you sure you're channeling Peter Capaldi, or he's jumped to John Barrowman again?
Yeah.
No,
Which means he jumped John Barrowman? What did you think of the whole what was it, the Black Vault? Is that what it's called?
Vault. That was my next subject. The Black Vault, very interesting, very Torchwood-like.
Yes.
I
liked the pin boards with all the pictures of all the companions.
And it was interesting because there was one picture I saw that I was going, what the? It was a picture of Mike Yates. And Mike Yates was in the same picture as Sarah Kingdom.
Okay, so see, okay, thank you. You answered a question that I had before I even had a chance to answer it, because I spent, we watched it twice, and the second time we watched it, it was, research time. It was, let's look over, let's make notes. It was the second time was show prep time.
Right.
First time was let's enjoy ourselves.
I don't know what show prep is, folks. I don't
Obviously.
Yeah.
I was making like a list of all the all the companions that were on the board. Mm-hmm. The thing that surprised the hell out of me was seeing Chameleon listed.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, how the hell did he get on there?
Must have been an untelevised episode. And it must have been another one when Mike Yates and Sarah Kingdom were on the same one, because Sarah Kingdom was only in the Dalek Master Plan. And the fact that she and Mike Yates were in the same place suggests that the third Doctor had an untelevised episode where he took Mike Yates in the TARDIS.
Well, I'd have to look at that moment in Day of the Doctor again, because I think that the Sarah Kingdom Mike Yates pictures, that's not one single picture.
It was one picture. I double-checked it before I brought it. I actually did do show prep, folks. I lied. I did show prep. And Mike Yates and Sarah Kingdom are in the exact same photograph.
I don't know. It did not look that way to me. It looked like she was. It looked like her picture was overlapped with Mike Yates's.
Well, it's a little bit strange that we're discussing about two companions I bet you half of our audience don't even know or care about.
Yeah.
And we're really dwelling on this one.
Oh yeah, well, let's get on to that.
Well, did you guys notice in the very beginning, the very first part of the episode, when it showed the Coal Hill School sign, said who was the chairman of the school board?
Yep.
Board of Governors.
Yeah, Ian Chesterton was the headmaster, and the board, and Anthony Coburn was was also listed on that board.
Well, it said W. It said W. Coburn.
W. Coburn.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it said
so we were trying to figure out who's W, because we know Anthony Coburn is.
Wrote under.
Yeah. So I have no idea, but interesting that they would, and interesting that Clara would be teaching there.
It was, and did you know? I mean, it was a great opening because they had the old credits and the old Doctor Who music, the old credits, and then it was the policeman walking by the sign for I Am Foreman.
And I loved how it went from black and white to color.
Yeah.
I think actually when it went to color, when we got to the I Am Foreman sign, that was, at that point I'm like, oh okay, this is the special, because from right there I'm like, what?
Yeah, you thought they were showing the wrong episode.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, are they going to show the Unearthly Child? What? Yeah, great way to start it.
Yeah.
I thought they should have that black and white BBC America globe spinning and spinning. Then that would have thrown people off really badly. Like, what the hell?
It's 5:15, and now.
That was.
But yeah, that was a
great way to start the episode, and oh god, and hey, I'm glad that for an anniversary episode like Day of the Doctor, while the brig may be gone, it was great that his daughter played a huge part in the plot.
Oh yeah,
I mean, come on, if you're gonna have a Doctor,
the fun with Kate.
Oh yeah, no, but if you're gonna have, if you're gonna have if you're gonna have an anniversary episode, Lethbridge-Stewart has to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be. That should be a rule in the show Bible.
Totally.
When we get to an anniversary episode, whichever Lethbridge-Stewart is a part of the show has to be in it.
And the space-time telegraph from Terror of the Zygons was in it, which is interesting that it was a Zygon episode. But back to the Black Vault. What did you? I mean, really?
Archive.
Black Archive. Black Vault. So what did you think of it?
We were going through it the second time. We were pausing it, trying to see what was in there. But most of it was just boxes.
Yeah.
So,
there was a Cyberman head.
There was a Cyberman head.
And there was a Dalek shell, too.
But what did you think of the fact that Unit had a Torchwood-like room? I mean, really, because we always were, Torchwood is different than Unit, but not really anymore. Unit and Torchwood seem to be the same.
Especially using a regular lock and key to get in, too.
Yeah. So
no electronic thing that the Doctor can't,
Well,
TARDIS can't go in it. I mean, really.
TARDIS can't go in, and those who work there get their minds wiped at the end of every day.
Yeah. That guy was working there for 10 years. He probably is not going to get severance pay when he stops because he's only going to work for a day.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure that Kate's a nice lady. I'm sure that he'll have some mystery Christmas bonus that he didn't know where it came from.
Which Kate will it be? I mean, I love the fact that when they were negotiating peace, they didn't know which was the Zygon, which was the human. The memory wipe that they were both Kate Stewart. I thought that was an ingenious plan. But you know what? Even though it was the best treaty, the best peace treaty ever, according to the doctors, we didn't really find out about it. So after this happened, did the Zygons live in peace with us in the new continuity?
And that was actually from when I posted the question over at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. What do you think of the series? A lot of people gave it credit, but the ones who did give it a criticism said that what happened to that? I mean, we just went on with the doctor and we just kind of left it there. We know from Stephen's writing that something that is a plot hole 2 series ago will actually be expanded on,
exactly
3 series from now. But yeah, it did kind of leave a gap. It was just like, okay, we went through all this and what? Nothing? As far as we know, the Zygons are poised, ready to just, take over the Earth, but they're all trapped in this room, and that was the end of it.
Mark, what did you think of the part when all 3 doctors are first together and the War Doctor is like, criticizing them for pointing the sonic screwdrivers at him? I was thinking that you would like that part.
Oh, I was so happy. And I think that that IKEA should get a mention here because no, actually IKEA, they use an L wrench. They don't usually use a screwdriver for IKEA furniture, but to build furniture, that's the only purpose I can see of a sonic screwdriver: opening locks and building furniture. And John Hurt nailed it there. They use it as a weapon way too much, and yes, Matt Smith is overcompensating.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of screwdrivers, did you notice that John Hurt's sonic screwdriver, the War Doctor's sonic screwdriver, was very minimalist?
Yeah.
It didn't have a lot of, doodads and knobs and whatnot. It was very minimalist, very simplistic.
And then it builds to David Tennant's, which is a little fancy because it goes up and stuff. And then Matt Smith's is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious?
Yeah, and you know what? We got some atrocious stuff for you. We got a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Come on, Trish. Help me out here.
We'll right back with more of the Day of the Doctor.
Hi, I'm Daphne Ashbrook, and you are listening to Mark Who 42.
Do you like retro shows? Did you grow up in either the 80s or the 90s? Then tune into Telecast, geekcast-radio.com's newest podcast. Join us here on the Telecast as we revisit some of your favorite shows, such as Clarissa Explains It All, Salute Your Shorts, Saved by the Bell, and much, much more, only on geekcast-radio.com.
Tooncast is dedicated to the cartoons we grew up with. 100 episodes and more make up one of the GCRN's most popular podcasts. Join hosts TFG and Mike, Optimus Solo, Terror the Rising Star, and tons of guest hosts. We also have voice actor and writer interviews. Tune in to Tooncast as we look back on the cartoons that defined us as geeks. You can find Tooncast on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Tune in.
And we're back with Mark Who 42's WHOniverse, the special edition Day of the Doctor. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me are Patricia Helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Christian-basel. We are talking about the 50th anniversary episode, and we just got through talking. Are we done talking about sonic screwdrivers, or is there more to talk? Because I am sick of sonic screwdrivers, as I mentioned over the last year.
I think that we can pretty much close the conversation off by saying, next time, check to see if the door is unlocked.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
And by the way, I figured out before the doctors did that the door was unlocked. When they closed the door, you didn't hear a locking noise.
And if you think about it, because the Queen was actually the Queen when she arrested him, because she must have been, because she said in the field is when she killed the Zygon. It lays to reason that she didn't lock it. Not a plot hole, definitely part of the plot, definitely.
The doctors. That's the
doctors didn't know.
Yeah, the doctors didn't know, but they should have been listening. But I guess they were too busy. John Hurt was too busy ragging on the doctors for their silly vocabulary and their overuse on screwdrivers.
Yeah, timey-wimey. I always liked that phrase, but it is a little immature. It is a little immature.
You know what? This is a show that started out for children, and I happen to like timey-wimey, so okay. I'll keep using it.
Do we have to keep using wibbly-wobbly?
We'll see what the situation calls for.
Okay.
We'll play it by ear. But now here's the thing. Honestly, when this moment came up in the episode, honestly, I was jumping off the walls.
Go for it,
Tom.
The curator, yeah.
Tom showing up. I mean, the minute they mention, this old man, the curator, and Trish and I are looking at each other like,
Like, I already knew. I already had a feeling.
Wasn't there an ebook, Summer Falls, and there was a character in it, and he said, "Call me the curator"?
I believe so.
Yeah, and I was thinking, they've tied that in. But then Tom's voice booms, and I'm like, my God.
the minute that he said, the minute he spoke his first words, I was like, oh my God, is it actually going to be Tom? And
there was a rumor. There was a rumor earlier last week that Tom Baker was in it, and when we got to this point of the episode, I was thinking, the rumor was wrong. He wasn't in it, and then he was.
It wasn't a rumor though. He came out on
right. He came out and said it, but you still had to take it with a grain of salt because everyone.
And he even said he didn't care. He was going to let people know that he was in the 50th anniversary. Right. So
that was just that was. And you know what? I honestly didn't mind that Tom wasn't playing the Doctor, or obviously playing the Doctor.
Wait a minute.
We don't know
but we don't know he wasn't playing the Doctor, because I think he was playing the Doctor, because when he's talking, he mentions that he'll be revisiting some of his old faces again.
This is how it opens up the regeneration limit.
Yeah, it definitely
because, I mean,
if more than 13 if he's the Doctor again.
If he's the Doctor again, and he's
or maybe there's some other way that he's able to like tap into his his picture files, as it were.
In Dimensions in Time, the Fourth Doctor did, even though he was wearing his hat, you could see that his hair was white.
Yeah. Well, if you look, if you're on Facebook and you go to the We Heart Heart group, the We Heart Heart Doctor Who, a lot of the admins were doing a countdown in the days leading up to the special, and I did banners, countdown banners for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And with 4, one of the images I used was Tom Baker from Dimensions in Time. And you could tell it's not, it's not the Tom Baker we know and love. You can tell that some of the hair is gone.
It is the Tom Baker we know and love.
I'm saying in terms of visual, visually, some of the hair is gone. There's a little bit more chubby face. It's a couple of wrinkles, but
Trish.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong. He still looks handsome. He looked very handsome. Even with the white hair.
Yeah, no, he still looked great.
He still looks great. And
for 80 years old, come on.
That was just a sweet, wonderful moment.
And because of the curator's part, it goes with what Stephen Moffat was saying. The next chapter of Doctor Who, the next 50 years, it looks like the Doctor is going to be looking for Gallifrey.
It kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, that what I like about the resolution of the episode is that the way they did it, especially because the War Doctor wouldn't remember, that still means that everything we've had up till now, so all of the Ninth Doctor's angsting, right? That's still there. Yeah. Everything about End of Time can still work.
Yes.
Especially because, like, for example, they even did it when we first saw the War Council. Mm-hmm. They even said, the ruling council was in an emergency session, and the general's like, I don't care what they're, I don't care. I don't care. Their plans are crap. I'm going with mine. It's so you could still have Rassilon and his little group going, we're going to replace, time and space, because they don't know what's going on. They had no idea that the 13 Doctors showed up. It seems like the ruling council and the War Council had their own ideas, and they were just like, well, we don't care what these other guys think. We're losing here. Let's. So it can still work. It can still work, and it opens up that we can get. And here's the other thing. Moffat was like, he didn't want to use the Ronnie. He didn't want to. But this does open the door for all those classic characters to come back.
Oh, definitely.
We can get the Ronnie back. We can get Romana back.
We can get the Drax back.
We can get Drax.
Someone wanted Drax last week? One of our Christian corner. Yes.
Yeah, we could get we could get Drax back. We could get we could get Romana. We can get the Ronnie. We can get the meddling monk. Hell, let's pull out the War Chief.
There you go.
I mean, it's all Andrid. We can get Andrid back.
Yeah.
Maybe even get Leela back. Maybe even have her tap into some Time Lord energy and regenerate herself.
I know I was kind of upset when, with Moffat saying, "Oh, I'm going to change everything. This is going to change the whole direction of the show."
He didn't really change it.
He didn't change it too much, but he changed it enough that, now there's a direction.
I mean, it paid homage just like it did to the Five Doctors, where Peter Davidson said, at the very end that, after all, that's how it all started. And if you remember, the very first episode, that the first Doctor was saying, maybe one day we will come back home with Susan. Yeah. Now it comes full circle that he can go home, and he's going to go home, and he's going to pursue that. So I think that is one of the things I loved about this episode, that is, all this time, he is now getting a chance to go home. And second of all, as much as the naysayers come out there and hit on Steve and everything like that, I mean, if we remember correctly, Russell, T, Steven, Mark, Gatiss, everybody is a Whovian. And they had this core love. Do you really think that they were going to write something that was just going to be this huge disaster without thinking it through to the very end? These guys are Whovians, and they've shown it. I mean, could anybody have done better? Could anybody have done worse? Yeah, but I like the direction they're going because their love for it is in there. We see it, and they want this show to be the 100th anniversary with probably Stephen Moffat the 5th. Doing it with the 28th Doctor up there, Capaldi 4, going up there, or if David Tennant the 2nd and Georgia Moffat the 3rd have a baby or something like that, and we're going to see
Colin
this.
Baker said when his favorite Doctor is Peter McCoy, but he hasn't done his show yet.
I will say this: the great thing about opening up this idea of the Doctor now looking for Gallifrey, and the Doctor, now trying to go home. First of all, it presents like a happy ending to, again, the angsty stuff. The stuff of, oh, my people are gone. Mm-hmm. I'm a man alone. Right. That puts a nice close to that chapter.
Yes.
And then it opens up a new one where, no, my people are out there. I just have to find them. But you also have another door open where, remember, Rassilon is still there.
Yeah.
The ones who were behind. Yeah, he's back. But, the Time Lords that were responsible for the Time War are still there. The Time Lords who tried to do what they did in End of Time, they're still there.
Yeah.
So not only can he go home, but now you have a new challenge: how to redeem the Time Lords.
Exactly.
How to go home and really make home something to want to go to. This is what makes the fact that we could open, that the door is now open for all these characters to return so interesting, because then how could they fit into that?
You can definitely also see from this episode that the Sontarans have nothing on the Daleks, because the Sontarans invaded Gallifrey. We had a couple of Sontarans walking through the Capitol building. They were taking, nothing was going on. This is back in Invasion of Time, and now the Daleks are decimating Gallifrey.
Well, don't forget the Daleks had the advantage of the budget that Stephen Moffat had.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I don't think back in 1970, they didn't have the money for the Sontarans.
Yeah, I don't. They couldn't CG. They couldn't CGI a bunch of Sontaran goose
Well,
steps.
if you remember, the Vardens from that episode looked like cellophane superimposed on the screen.
Remember back then when they were talking wibbly wobbly, they were talking about the sets.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about high tech stuff, we're talking about somebody going to their local Kinko's and buying bubble wrap, putting it in green, and calling, "I'm a Weirin now." I mean, this is the kind of stuff we had to do. But this was high tech back then, and God knows only the 100th episode.
And also,
high tech back then. It was what they could afford is high tech.
Exactly. It's not just high tech, Christian. It's also that the BBC didn't exactly have an unlimited budget. You kind of had to work with what you got.
I'd imagine they did have the Star Wars budget.
Yeah, but also notice for example, and we still have this nowadays. If you're going to have a whole group of Sontarans, there's only going to be one or two people where you see the potato head. Yeah. Everybody else has a helmet on.
Yeah.
Because they probably do not have the makeup department would probably go on a riot, and go, "You don't pay us enough. You don't give us enough to have 5 potato head guys. We'll give you 2. Everybody else was a helmet."
What did you think about the 2.6 million kids?
I was actually, I was surprised that there was that many
people on
Gallifrey. For some reason, I was always under the delusion that their numbers had dwindled or something, and that that there wasn't that many on the planet.
Obviously,
and obviously I was totally wrong, and I'm thinking, God, no wonder he's so messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I love that storyline where it really drove home what that story was all about, because now War Doctor's looking at it, I don't recognize you two. The guy to his left is you forgot the 2.6 billion children? How could you just forget? And the War Doctor's seeing his future now and going like, do I really want to become this?
Exactly.
That just gave that story so much power.
Yeah.
So much drive. It showed the character of the Doctor, and then it gets all turned around when Clara starts to tear up and well up and says, this is not you.
Again, Clara has a big part to play. I mean, I'm still not I still don't love Clara as a companion. But she's been playing some important parts.
Yeah, I mean, look, hopefully this is, hopefully Day of the Doctor, and to another extent, the upcoming Christmas special. Hopefully what can happen with Clara is that she can actually develop a character.
It would be nice.
A real character, not just being the impossible girl.
Well, she's a teacher now.
Yeah, she's a teacher.
A fellow teacher. Hey.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the Coal Hill School is better than some of the classes I've had.
It's a British school. It's much better than what we've got over here.
No!
There's no possible way it's not true.
Christian, I see you were already laughing at it. What do you think? Sandshoes and Grandpa, great name for a 70s buddy cop show?
Oh, yes.
70s and Grandpa.
Yes! And it should be with John Hurt and David Tennant. They should be the starting role.
It's time for Sandshoes and Grandpa. Presented in Technicolor.
It's one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite shows. Didn't you know that? 70s exploitation shows and movies. Oh, yeah.
This is some meme waiting to happen.
Sandshoes and Grandpa, Tuesdays at 8 on CBS.
No, it wouldn't be on CBS.
This is a meme waiting to happen.
I would put it on NBC.
NBC?
Yeah, I'd put it on NBC.
NBC.
Yeah.
NBC, right after a new episode of Bionic Woman.
I wonder what Christina D'Souza is doing these days.
But at worst, we fail doing the right thing as opposed to succeeding in doing the wrong thing.
Mark, let me ask you this question. When did Niagara Falls start tearing up with your group? And I'll tell you when Niagara Falls hit the Hurricane 2 group.
I don't know exactly when they hit. I know that my co-runner of the event, Julia Rose, she was sobbing the whole way through. She was tearing up the whole way through. I couldn't tell you when the tears en masse started.
I think it started on my side. I was kind of watching the group every now and then. I think it started tearing up when 10 and 11 had their little spat, and it just escalated even further. And God, the finale, oh boy. You had a mixture of tears and just people just shouting.
Well, every doctor showed up. It was amazing. And I want to know who, and it wasn't in the credits. I checked the credits. Who did the voice of the William Hartnell? Was it David Bradley? Because, I
don't think it was Bradley.
I don't think it was either. It sounded like William Hartnell, but he used the word Gallifrey, and I know that they never used Gallifrey in the William Hartnell era because they hadn't named the planet yet. But they had an impersonation of William Hartnell's voice dead on.
Oh yeah, no, it was perfect. It was perfect. But I
was thinking maybe John Colshaw. Maybe John Colshaw, because I've heard John do his impersonation of William Hartnell, and it's pretty good. And I was thinking it sounds a little like Colshaw. I wasn't sure.
And when it first was like, all three of them were going to do it, I was like, wow, only three? How are they going to do a whole planet? I thought that must be pretty powerful. But then when the other one showed up, I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, the minute that the first Doctor was like, attention, all council of Gallifrey, I'm like, we're both looking at each other like, and then we see the other, and then it just built until they, we were just having a great.
I almost started crying.
And then the clip of Eccles. Then the clip of Eccles.
The clip of where did they take that clip from? Because that's obviously a clip.
That's from the ending where John, when he takes the TARDIS and hits the missile,
right?
And you think the TARDIS is blown up, and then John Barrowman says something in the line it says, try to say that 10 times fast, and then the Doctor says, and for my next trick, and boom, he slams the switch, and he ends up on the Dalek ship right next to Rose.
Okay, so that was from Parting of Ways.
That's from Parting of Ways.
Yeah. But yeah, they had the Eccleston clip, and we were and Trish and I are like, oh, they used an Eccleston clip, and then the moment which just blew us out. The moment that blew us out. I think, I was joking with Trish. First of all, when somebody said, I don't think it was the general. I think it was one of his aides. Was like all 13 of them, and we get. The eyes. We just lost it.
Well,
I was joking.
The audience
when they said it was,
viewing party went crazy at that.
And they said it's all 12, and it's like, no, 13, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, no, it was no, and then of course it's like I was joking with Trish. All last night. You could just I kind of have this image in my head of Facebook Central. And you have this poor technician going, Mr. Zuckerberg, Facebook is crashing. It can't handle the load. And it's like, what's going on? Why is it crashing? And it's like, it's because of this scene in Day of the Doctor. And Zuckerberg's looking at the clip and going, oh my God.
It's almost as somebody said, hey, Peter, can you put your angry eyes on? Let's really get that little bloodshot thing going. I'm like, holy cow. Like, he's pissed.
Yeah, damn. I mean, it's... But yeah, and then for me, just the fanboy in me, that moment with the curator, I was just like, Tom. Like I know friend of the program, John Corby, he was loving it. He was loving that Tom came back. Oh. I'm actually glad that he didn't put his first impressions on our Facebook page because I know you would warn people not to spoil.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give the episode, Trish?
10.
Ed?
I'm going to say 10.
Christian?
No, I'm not going to be popular. I'm going to say 9.5.
So nobody answers the correct answer and says 11.
Silly rabbit.
Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Silly rabbit. No.
Going back to what you were talking about.
No. We're not letting you off the hook that easy. Christian, you said 9 points. You did not say 10.
Yeah.
Give me some more of your criticisms.
It's just going to be rehashing of what we said. It was mostly kind of that plot hole, but that would be the only thing. If I'm basing it upon as an episode,
right?
That was it. It was just kind of like we had unfinished business over here. We had great characters, as far as Kate Stewart, as far as the other characters of UNIT. That were developing. The girl who said, "Doctor, save me! Doctor, save me! Doctor, save me!" And I'm like, "Where's that coming from? Where's that originating? Why is she saying that?"
But you know what? The Doctor did save her because the Zygon was on the scarf, and it was the Doctor's scarf, and she pulls the scarf, and the Zygon falls down. So in a way, the Doctor did save her.
Well, the way she was looking at Matt Smith, she was a total fangirl.
She was
of the Doctor, and I think that being in UNIT, she must have researched everything, and her having access to the Black Archive. I bet she knows everything, and I bet she's just a massive fangirl.
Planet of the Dead, the unpaid scientific advisor in that episode. Remember?
Yeah, he
was
a fanboy
also
too.
in awe of the Doctor and wanted to meet him and was amazed. And at the end, says, "I love you."
Right, but we had a whole episode with him, and we finally saw, a development in Malcolm and how much love he had when he started challenging that Brigadier.
Right.
Yeah. Now this one was kind of, we started seeing other characters growing, and then they just kind of fell off the map. And I wanted more of her about the sister. Zygon was criticizing about I would have taken on your nicer sister. Now I wanted to know more about her and why she has this fascination with the Doctor, and then she just fell off with the plot line. And I meant maybe it wasn't.
But
meant
hey,
maybe she'll be back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
This is not.
But like I
is
said,
not
I'm
the
just
end
counting
here.
this as an
Because
episode.
there's got to be more of the Zygons. It can't
Right, but I'm
be.
just counting this as its own episode sitting still on the
Okay.
shelf. If we were to say this is one episode. But if it goes in tails, yeah, if she comes back, yeah, definitely. And really, overall, I'm giving it a 10 because I think this is the best way with everything that has gone on. But like I said, that's why I'm not going to be popular. I'm just saying, just for the plot line.
Well, see, I guess I would
9.5 as an episode alone.
I guess I would change mine to 9.9.
9.
For the mere fact that when John Hurt regenerated, that they didn't show him turning into Eccleston.
Yeah, I'd
just
put it,
to
I'd
close
put it about,
that. If they had just Eccleston on there for just 2 seconds,
it looked
I
like Eccleston. CGI.
Well, I've seen pausing. I've seen pictures, screen captures of that, and it doesn't look anything like Eccleston.
Okay.
Well, I've seen, I don't know, the screen capture when we were looking at the screen capture. For me, it looks like right before the camera cut away, that he was sort of in between. Like, there was still a little bit of hurt towards the bottom, but at the top, around the eyes, and with the hair, it was starting to go Eccleston.
Yeah,
like they decided to cut it. They decided to cut it at just the right moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably be about a 9.9 myself.
What did you guys think of that final shot with all 13 doctors?
Oh, it was beautiful.
That was
cool.
amazing.
And by the way, I love how they put William Hartnell. They put the first Doctor separate, like he's in the back, and then all his successors are in a row, decked out in front. I like that they took William Hartnell, they set him apart, kind of saying, this is how it started, and then this is where we've been. A great companion piece to another scene in another production.
Now, did you guys see that link I posted to the 5-ish Doctors?
Yeah, I haven't watched the 5-ish Doctors yet. I plan to.
Oh my God. If that should be a special feature on the DVD.
Oh,
it is so funny. It is. Make sure you watch it all the way through the credits.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we were laughing hysterical last night watching it. It's so good.
I think I was laughing so hard. Trish's dog was freaking out.
Yep.
He didn't like that I was laughing really hard. Yeah, Trish and I were watching BBC America's pre-show
the
party.
Pre-show sucked.
Sucked.
The pre-show sucked.
Oh, the pre-show sucked so much.
The after party was pretty cool because it had all the companions in the audience. They were talking to him, and at the end, they cut a birthday cake, and the birthday cake was the size of like a 4-foot tall TARDIS or a 3-foot tall TARDIS cake, and it was really cool.
You see, what did we? I think the only funny part of the BBC America pre-show party was when they had a clip of Matt Smith and David Tennant doing lines from famous movies. The title. What you won't hear in Day of the Doctor, and they did.
That was
cool.
It was so funny to hear David Tennant and Matt Smith both say, "I'll have what she's having."
Yeah. No, but I think the funniest one was they did Terminator. I'll Be Back, they did I'll Be Back and Hasta La Vista Baby, and David Tennant, after he does it, he just very deadpan looks at the camera and goes, I should be governor of California.
Hey, Mark, can I have an Eduardo moment here? Just for a moment. I'm going to have an Ed moment here.
Watch it.
And I don't... No. I'll explain why this is.
I'm right here.
And I hate to bash fellow Whovians like this, but when they were panning off to do the side shot with the guy over there in the top, I don't even remember their names that much. Fellow Whovians, if you're having a 50th anniversary and you're about to be interviewed worldwide, pretend that it is a 50th anniversary and get a little more excited than just sitting there with your hands in your lap. Go nuts.
God.
Go ballistic. Show them what Whovians are really all about, that they're excited to see this episode. They were just sitting there like they were on a political panel. And I was just like, somebody just jump up, applaud something, anything. I was just like, my goodness.
Jeez. I mean, either they need to get more excited, or whoever had the specials going. Like, yeah, it was like that with the BBC America party. It's like, okay, if you're excited, come on, show it. I mean, it's either A, they need to get more excited, or B, whoever was producing this, don't hold the audience back, man.
That's what it felt like. It felt like to me like they had told them to sit there.
Yeah, sit there. Just sit there
sit
very
there
quietly.
and yeah.
So for anybody from BBC America, and you do the 100th, the 100th anniversary, and Mark is still doing the TARDIS weekend on Hurricane Who's still going, please come out and visit us. Yeah. We'll show you what Whovians really feel like when they get an anniversary thing going, but oh my goodness.
And on that happy note, we'll leave the Day of the Doctor and devote a little bit of time to An Adventure of Space and Time, the biopic about William Hartnell, Verity Lambert, and the beginnings of Doctor Who. Gang?
Oh my God, it was awesome.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
It was so good.
And look, I will admit, I'm a red-blooded American male through and through, but that had me crying. I mean, I was tearing up.
I always heard William Hartnell was difficult, but who knew? At the beginning he was pretty mean to his granddaughter. It was weird, but then he mellowed out, and like the Doctor did, he mellowed out.
Yeah.
He was frustrated with his career.
Yeah,
he was very frustrated, and he took it out, unfortunately, on the people he loved. And
yeah, that's what people do.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but so, I mean, I gotta, and there's a part of me, given the fact that I've actually worked on sets and whatnot, there's a part of me that, that scene where he's talking to the director,
right?
The new director, and he's like, no, but I'm gonna have to move over here. I'm gonna have to turn this knob and this knob. There's a part of me that sides kind of with the crew, and it's like, oh my God, really? But then there's another part of me that was kind of in awe at how much he was into the craft,
right? That
he actually memorized what button is supposed to do what, so that way he's not just flicking random buttons. That there's actually a reality to it. That this, when you turn this knob is the the time dial. It's always going to be the time dial. When you press this button, that's going to be the activations. The activation button. That's always going to be the activation button. This square button is always going to be to turn on the telescreen.
But he had to say. But he made the statement, which I totally agree, and I don't think it just deals with children. I think it's just Whovians across the board. They're going to know.
Yeah.
You pull one switch and this opened the door. Next week it blows up the TARDIS, you will know that this switch didn't do what it was supposed to do. And he was
like that right from the beginning. He was complaining that they didn't have a set when they were doing the read-throughs because he's like, I got to memorize the buttons and what they do. It's like I have to do this.
And the reaction of the people in the studio at that time were like, oh, he's crazy. Why does he? But William Hartnell wanted to play the part, wanted to make it believable, and to do that, you have to have everything the same.
And speaking of believable, David Bradley. I mean, kudos to him.
Oh yeah,
kudos to him. He did an awesome job. I hope. I really pray to God that when Britain does their version of the Emmys, that honestly, he deserves at the very least a nomination. BAFTA. I mean, he deserves. Yeah, he deserves he deserves at least a nomination in the BAFTAs. At least a nomination. I don't know whether or not, since it was shown in BBC America, I don't know whether or not it would be eligible for the Emmys. I hope to God it would be, because again, he deserves to be on there. That was just a great performance, and
I loved the scene where with him and his wife in the park when the kids are all interacting with him and he's playing with the kids.
Oh God,
that was so
beautiful.
Neat.
And I love the scene with, first of all, Verity. I love the character, love the actress who played her, and I just love the scene where she's on the bus. And the kids going, exterminate. I mean, that was just, I love it. I love how just the feeling of vindication she got, where it's like,
it was funny when they were like, we said no robots. We said, and then they're filming it and they're like, actually, those are pretty creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're very creepy.
Yeah, it's
Speaking of believable, I hate to say this was my only negative thing about the whole series, and I'm going to apologize to Reese Shearsmith, who played Patrick Troughton. Mm-hmm. I didn't get the believability. In fact, I was hoping they would pull out Fraser Hines to play him.
That would have been so cool.
and when we did Hurricane Who the last time, if you remember, Mark, when we went there, and he dressed up as the second Doctor, and he did all the mannerisms, and he does the voice.
God, you didn't get a picture? You didn't get a picture?
There's a picture on Hurricane Who, but I could not. He was moving around all over the place, and my camera couldn't lock on him. And the audience was standing up, so I couldn't get it. But there are pictures out there of him as the second Doctor. He does the voice at the end, the light at the end.
Yeah,
he does the second Doctor's voice. So I'm like, I was like, what's Frasier doing? And I like that they paid homage to one person in there. Carol Ann Ford was, I guess, the mother who was walking across the street calling for the children or something like that. So at least one of the true actors was actually.
Jim Russell was in it too. He played the security guard at the BBC who said, that's not how we behave at the BBC. Yeah. When Sidney Newman was coming in and parking and not showing his pass. That was William Russell. That was Ian. That was Ian Chesterton.
And I just like that the story surrounded three people specifically. It was William Hartnell, Sidney Newman, not even Sidney Newman.
It was Warris.
Warris Hussein and Verity Lambert. I mean, we were watching those three planets, if you will, circling around the sun, and how they interacted and how they drew into each other, and how one made the other person better. Yeah. That they had to leave and do other things.
What did you think about the cameo at the end?
That was
I cried.
Trish and I were both crying. I mean, it was.
Well, of course, I cried right before that too, when he was at home in the fire, with his hands on the fireplace, going, "I don't want to go." Oh, I just,
I was crying, and I thought it was. See, when that had been spoiled before the movie had come out.
Really?
But really? There had been a spoiler posted. Yeah, there had been a spoiler posted, and a part of me, when I read that story, I thought that was an awesome idea. But already in my head, I thought, they'd give Matt a line or something, But the fact that they kept it silent, that it was just him looking over. There's Matt Smith, and there he is, resting his hands on the console. The fact it was completely silent, all you had was the music, that was perfect. That was exactly what was called for, and it just worked. It just worked, and it hit me like a thunderbolt.
I have a question for all of you, and this would have been my ending of it. What would you have thought, not only that Matt Smith were there, but all of the other doctors?
I was just going to say that, because I said that to Eddie yesterday after we watched it. I said that to him. I said,
yeah, that would have been great.
That it would have been something reminiscent of, I can never remember the name of the episode of, the end of season 4, when it's
all the companions,
Doctor and all the companions all around the console,
right. Yeah.
But
just that same feeling, that I agree with you. It would have been awesome if it had been all of the doctors around the console, and they could have CGI'd.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, if they couldn't do that, the fact that they at least had something, the fact that they had that scene, which I don't think you could call it breaking the fourth wall. I think we'd have to create like a new wall. I think that I don't think you can call it breaking the fourth wall. I think that you'd have to come up with like a new name for it. But just
breaking
the fact,
TARDIS wall.
Breaking the TARDIS, maybe breaking the TARDIS. But the fact that you had that scene where Hartnell sees a vision of the future, and sees that he started something that is going to keep going. That what he started is not going to end. He may be walking off, but he has started something. He started a legacy. That was beautiful. That was heartwarming, and also I think the whoever made the decision that they have to end it on on the real Hartnell doing that speech to Susan, the famous speech of "One day I shall come back."
Yeah.
Again, perfect. Yeah. Just absolutely perfect. I mean, that was the best way to go out on it.
You know what else was perfect? Guys?
What?
This episode. I think we had a great episode. I want to thank everybody for listening to our Day of the Doctor Mark Who 42's WHOniverse special. Check us out on Facebook, Mark Who 42's WHOniverse. tweet us at markwho42. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Florida Geek Scene, and Geekcast-Radio-network, and now on World of Who.
And we're also soon to be available via carrier pigeon.
Oh, that's good, because we're everywhere in the WHOniverse. Write to us, Mark at markwho42.com. We love hearing email. Hearing email? You read email. You don't really hear email. We love to read your email, and we love you at home, don't we, guys?
But if we can hear your email, we'll do it too.
Yeah, well, you can send us an audio clip. That's fine.
Send us an audio clip. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Do something.
So, any last words, folks, before we go?
Well, first off, I want to say, David Tennant for Governor of California. Let's start right now. Let's start this right now. Let's start the movement going. David Tennant for Governor of California. Roll it off your tongue. Say it with me. Governor Tennant. Does that not sound cool? And also, I think I have another parting word. After seeing An Adventure in Space and Time, somebody talk to Stephen Moffat. We got to have David Bradley as the first Doctor on the show. They got to somehow.
Said that before, and now I will agree with you.
See, now that we've actually had proof, come on, let's do it. Let's do this. Come on.
Remember to listen to us again in the couple of weeks where we have our next exciting episode of Mark 42's WHOniverse, Doctor Who WHOniverse, that is. Bye now.
Bye.
Mark 42. Maybe in the Christmas episodes I'll show my elbows.
Aw, Peter. We'll listen to us next time. Bye.
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 Governor Tennant.
Never can stop. We always say bye. We can't stop. I can't press the stop button. It just keep recording.
All right, guys. I don't know. I'm sorry about this phone call.
So long. Goodbye, everyone.
We gotta go.
Mark 42 WHOniverse.
Mark 42's WHOniverse has been written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Patricia Helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Christian-basel. This show was edited, produced, and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Please remember to rate us and listen to us on iTunes and the Stitcher Radio app. And comment on our broadcast at geekcast-radio.com, floridageekscene.com, and worldofwho.com. Tweet us at markwho42 and check out our Facebook page, Mark 42's WHOniverse. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42.com with the subject line question mark. And don't forget Christian's Corner.
Mark 42 WHOniverse.
Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This podcast is streaming from markwho42.com. This podcast is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten, 2013.